2 going into the last inning, but 8-2 ended up being the final. Are they just facing a guy on the best night of his life? Or is it the Padres offense that has a serious problem? And when you start asking that question too many times, it starts to be the answer is it's the Padres offense that's the problem. Brandon Pfaadt this year had a 5.42 ERA heading into last night, had a streak of 8 consecutive starts without getting a quality start. That's the guy that looked like Cy Young against the San Diego Padres last night. The offense might be the problem. And there's the whole pinch hitting for Maldonado in the 5th inning for another catcher who's just as bad as him at the plate.
Yeah, pinch hitting for a guy who hits 167. By the way, we're audio's back on the stream. Tyler and Paris, thank you for shouting that out.
What's up? But it's a frustrating night for the Padres in a line of a frustrating season, I would say. And it's not like they're bad. No, the record's fine. What are they? 6 games over 500 as we sit right now. They're a game out of a postseason spot right behind the San Francisco Giants.
You just said it though. You just said that it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
They're not bad. They're not a bad baseball
team. A little boring.
It's the only thing that's consistent about the Padre team is that they show you that they're not consistent. That's the only thing about it. And it's so frustrating because you know the talent's there. This team, I equate them a lot to the Cincinnati Bengals. I was thinking about this on the way in today. They have the talent. You have Fernando Tatis. You have Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado. You got T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. You got a lot of flash on this team and a lot of stuff that when they're on, they can hang with anyone. But then where's the meat and potatoes? Where's the offensive line? Where's the secondary? Where's the linebacker core? It feels like this whole team, when the top of the lineup is performing, they can be dangerous. But we've seen over a large sample size of the season that this team is just, it's not consistent. And either you got to go all in and try to do something about it, or I feel like you got to try to blow it up and redo this thing, because currently constructed, this team is not, I hope I'm wrong, I hope I'm eating crow, not going to go far in the playoffs because they haven't shown us that they're going to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm curious what happens here. And I think that the same argument I've made about you, Darvish, and Michael King coming back around the trade deadline, how you're basically getting 2 starting pitchers at the trade deadline. The same could be made for Dylan Cease if you get back actual Dylan Cease, but we haven't seen that so far this year. All right, we'll talk plenty more about the Padres today. We got Coach Kentera jumping on the show coming up at 1:30. I'll ask him straight up if he thinks the Padres would be better off shipping Dylan Cease out of town. Maybe that's the course of action here they take. We will definitely see. But right now it's time for the Big Three, where Sammy Long takes us through the top stories in the world of sports. We got a huge contract extension going in the NBA. Can't wait to hear about it. Sammy, smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
All right, we got multiple ways for you to watch us on the stream. You can watch us on X at Fletch and Sammy, and on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. And any audio issues have been resolved so far. Sammy, where are we starting?
We're starting. So we have massive. You just mentioned it right before the thing. Massive contract extensions in the NBA. Devin Booker signs a 2-year contract extension for 2 years, $145 million. That is the highest average of any sport. NBA. MLB, NFL,
that's 72.5 a year.
72.5 in a year. And listen, Devin Booker's a solid player, but I don't know if he's worth that. Ooh. And then as of literally 4 minutes before the show broke, 10 minutes ago, Jalen Williams, 5-year, $287 million, a rookie max contract. This comes after Chet Holmgren signs and SGA signs. These massive contracts. Do you agree with both of them getting max level deals? And then second question, do you believe Oklahoma City is right to make a Big Three going there?
Raise your kids to be basketball players. That's all I can say. And I know the NBA is the toughest nut to crack when you're talking about professional sports and the percentage of people from college going into the pros. But man, oh man, they are making a lot of money. 72.5 a year. $72.5 million per year is what Devin Booker is going to be getting. The Jalen Williams one, I actually love. I like that better than I like the Chet Holmgren signing. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jalen Williams is a bigger part of OKC than Chet Holmgren is as to this point, but Holmgren probably has the brighter future if everything goes to plan. Devin Booker, nobody in the world is worth $72.5 million a year to dribble a basketball around, much like nobody in the world is worth what the Mets gave Juan Soto. But if you're the Suns, you've kind of decided this is your franchise, and this is sort of what you have to do. And if this is the going rate for a guy like Devin Booker, man, oh man, I guess that's what you're paying him.
Yeah, in terms of the Booker thing, it seems like a desperation move from the Suns. The contract extension, he's 28 now. By the time he had 2 years remaining on his deal. So by the time this is up, he's going to be 32 years old, still in the prime of his career, but this comes after.
Yeah, but he doesn't even have a Jenner with him at this point, does he?
Right. No. And Kevin Durant just left. This feels like a Jenner. Oh, I heard what you said. A Jenner. That's funny. Maybe he's better off without a Jenner.
Probably. They're kind of the curse.
Have you heard Kendall Jenner's all-time starting 5, by the way?
What do you, like all the basketball players she's dating?
Yeah.
Is it pretty stacked?
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. That'll be a segment. But Devin Booker, $72.5 million. You got to save face. You got to sell tickets if you're Phoenix. I actually like some of the rebuild, but if I'm Phoenix, I'm totally rebuilding. You could get a massive haul for Devin Booker, and I know he's the local kid. He's from Phoenix, all that kind of stuff, from the Southwest. But I think that's way too much money. You're going to be looking at that contract going, what are they doing? In terms of Oklahoma City, I'm with you on Jalen Williams. I think that's a smart ad. SGA, we know, is an MVP superstar player, $385 million. I don't love the Chet Holmgren one because I don't think that SGA is a max salary level player. I don't think Chet Holmgren's a max salary level player.
What if it was Chet Holmgren plus 25 pounds? Like, serious question.
But why has he not already put that on? He's been in the league for multiple seasons.
I agree. But what if he adds 25 pounds? Because then I feel differently about him. I really do.
I just don't know. Chet Holmgren disappeared a lot in those playoffs for me. And I think what the special sauce of the Thunder is that you had this collection of young talent. And I get it. Sam Presti's there. They still have a lot of draft picks. So I'm assuming that they're still going to be doing Sam Presti type things and getting young players with talent. But Chet Holmgren disappeared at times. Lou Dort was the key to this. Alex Caruso was the key to this. Isaiah Hartenstein. That's going to start to go away once you start handing out big three contracts. We haven't seen the big three really work since LeBron, Wade, and Bosh and those Spurs teams, and it feels like that's kind of an outdated model. And I wouldn't have done it, but hey, I guess Sam Presti has earned the right to do what he wants. Number 2, Deion Sanders. This came out of Big 12 Media Day yesterday. He wants a salary cap for college football. He also just comes after saying Colorado's team. He's a hell of a salesman. Colorado's team is better this year than it was last year. You know who's off the team, Fletch? His son.
Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders.
His son.
Mm-hmm.
So, number 1, do you think there should be a salary cap in college football with the whole NIL thing? And then what do you make of him adding to the long list of people that don't seem to believe in his son at the pro level?
So I don't know that I agree with the salary cap, but I do agree with contracts for players. And you can't really have one without the other, because I think contracts for players solves the issues of guys just leaving as soon as the season's halfway over, or they're not getting the playing time they want. I think you sign a deal with the college as a freshman, you should probably sign that for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and then you got to stick to the contract. The salary cap thing is interesting because here's where it makes it unfair. If that salary cap is set high enough, teams in the SEC, teams in the Big 12, they're going to be able to meet that salary cap each and every year. Well, there's teams who are going to be in the Pac-12 in a couple of years, including San Diego State, who might not have the funds to even reach the salary cap. So at the same time, it brings the top down a little bit, but the bottom, there would have to be a salary floor as well that goes with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
and it's funny that Dion's the guy saying there needs to be a salary cap. The dude who can pull more NIL money than anyone in college football.
Yeah. Well, I think what Deion's realizing is that the name brand of Deion Sanders can only get you so far. And they stole Julian Lewis from USC, who's a 5-star quarterback. But at the end of the day, they're losing out on recruits. There's a reason why the offensive and defensive line hasn't been good for Colorado, because they're losing that to the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Oregon, not even mentioning the SEC with Alabama and Georgia and all them. Yeah, it does. My thing, I like the contract idea, Fletch, because it is a little frustrating how, I mean, the power used to be all in with the coaches and the recruiters, and they had too much. They had too much power. But now it's like, if you don't play me, I mean, I'm out. Like Zachariah Branch at USC spent a ton of money to get him, and he didn't like the amount of touches he was getting. He dipped out to Alabama, him and his brother. I mean, it feels like you are constantly not only trying to recruit future athletes, but keep your own, and it's kind of a hard model to abide by.
By the way, August 23rd is the start of the college football season. We are getting close. That's like a month and 13 days. We
are very excited.
That is very fun. All right, we'll save the other one for the other side, Sammy. We'll get one more in a little bit later. If you want to communicate the show, easy way to do it, like Paris on YouTube, say my 82-game win is looking pretty good for the Padres this year. It's looking really good, Paris. That feels like around the number they are trending towards. You could also text the show. 70470. Start your message with team. We love the text line. We look at it all the time. There's a question right now on the text line from the 760 asking about girls with lazy eyes and would we or would we not date them?
That sounds like an interesting text to read on air.
Maybe we'll do it a little bit later on. You never know. So 70470, start your message with team. Of course, we'd love for you to listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Just search San Diego Sports 760 on there. Add us to your presets. Make it number 1 on your presets. If you like the station, if you like the show, if you just really, really love Sammy Long's hair, that's the spot you got to do it on. Just had a meeting today. It makes us look really good if we get more presets. So please add us to your presets. It is San Diego Sports 760. We do have a pair of Billy Currington tickets coming up in hour number 1, so don't go anywhere. And you are listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up next, back to the Padres. Big 3 story number 3. That's next. San Diego Sports 760. We are part of iHeartRadio. We love the free iHeartRadio app, and the iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by Bryan Adams, Ed Sheeran, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets now at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. Some kind of breaking news in the broadcast world. Sammy, did you see that Kevin Harlan is now signed with Amazon Prime Video to call NBA games beginning later this year?
Yes, it's going to be very exciting.
So how many games will be on Amazon Prime?
I don't know the exact number because Amazon and NBC,
right?
ESPN is going to keep they do the Saturday showcase and the Friday night games. Do they do the Wednesday as well? So the TNT broadcast team with Chuck, Ernie, and Shaq and what am I saying? Missing what's his face? Blanking on him. Anyway, Kenny. What am I saying? They're going to be on ESPN, and then Kevin Harlan and them are going to. I think Reggie Miller's going to NBC.
So Reggie Miller and Kevin Harlan have been broken up. Ian Eagle is going to be part of the Amazon Prime broadcast as well with Kevin Harlan. Stan Van Gundy is going to be there. Del Curry, Steph's dad, is going to be part of the Amazon Prime.
Jordan's going to be on NBC.
I saw, just for I think a few games. He's going to be part of a panel of some sort.
I don't know. I love Michael Jordan. I'm curious to see him on the panel. How he is like that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's kind of like Tom Brady joining the broadcast booth. It could have gone one of two ways. Like you could realize, Tom was great at playing football, but not necessarily talking football. And it was a learning curve for him. It really was. Like at the beginning, Tom Brady wasn't great.
He got better as it went on.
And then he became really good. I'm curious to see how serious Michael Jordan takes it. That's the bigger part of it. Like, is he going to be up there and just kind of sharing just his opinion, or is he going to do the work to kind of get it down and dirty with it?
The second he talks about LeBron is going to go instantly viral.
Oh yeah, and that's why NBC wanted him. They that's literally the conversation they got him to have. All right, so cool, good for Amazon Prime. You think about a stacked cast now with Al Michaels doing football games, Kevin Harlan doing basketball games. The streamers are becoming the major players in the world of sports broadcasting. Sammy, you had a fun question for the text line that we're going to hit at the end of the show with our own top 5 list. You want to lay that out there?
Yeah, so we're going to do a top 5 list at the end of the show. Fletch and I kind of like doing that at the end. So I was debating this with someone yesterday. What is your top 5 characters in either sitcoms or comedy shows, but that is not the main character? So for example, if you pick The Office, you can pick any character except for Michael Scott.
So you could do a Dwight Schrute.
You could do a Dwight Schrute. You could do, if you're doing Seinfeld, you can't do Jerry. So I
feel like that's 2 in the top 5 right there. Dwight Schrute and George Costanza or Kramer.
I don't want to.
Seinfeld has its own top 5.
We're gonna give our top 5 at the end of the show, and text us 70470. Start your message with team 70470. Start your message with team. Give us your top 5 characters. Again, characters in sitcoms or TV shows. In comedy TV shows, that is not the main character.
God, Barney Stinson's a good one.
There's a lot. It's
Family
tough.
Guy or Brian and Stewie not main characters.
You can include Family Guy.
South Park, is Cartman not a main character? I don't know.
I think Cartman's a main character.
That's tricky. Or you could just be like the 949 on the text line and say, Sammy, would you rather date someone with bad breath or body odor? Well, Sammy?
Well, they kind of go hand in hand. I think
the text line's asking for it.
I think if you have, listen, bad breath's rough, but if you have BO, I think then you just smell all the time. So I guess I'd say bad breath.
Yeah, and you just kiss their forehead.
Yeah. Why is that on your mind?
It's on the text line. It's not on my mind.
949 is asking some crazy questions.
I think it's a great question, 949. Real quick on the Padres. So obviously a huge question going into the second half of the season, which we're only about 15, 20 days away from the All-Star break now, less than that even.
The All-Star break's right next week.
Right, the trade deadline. Excuse me. We're really getting close to that point in the season where it's like the second half is here, the playoff stretch is here. The biggest questions right now have to be the starting rotation for the Padres. What's it going to look like after the trade deadline this year? Because is Michael King going to be back to fully healthy? They can tell us that he is, but we haven't seen it yet. Is Yu Darvish we've seen one start from him. Is he going to be a mainstay in this rotation in the second half? And is Dylan Cease even going to be on the team? I think that's the biggest question for me. Like, are we seeing the end of Dylan Cease as a San Diego Padre here over the next few weeks?
And I'm curious, even though he was awful last night, giving up the grand slam, 2 solo shots, I'm curious if he would have some trade value simply because of this. Free agent next year. Now, him being a free agent next year does not help the Padres because there's not like a long-term extension locked in and everything. But the amount of teams that are trying to get starting pitching because on name recognition alone, Dylan Cease has been big in big moments, and he's just been awful for the Padres recently. And like, I'm curious in terms of, do you trust the Padres starting pitching staff? Because Nick Pivetta has been fantastic, and they signed him. I mean, he has been throughout the whole season the ace of the rotation, the guy who has pitched the best over the long haul. Obviously, King's been hurt, Darvish has been hurt, and things like that. I don't know if I feel great about Nick Pivetta being the ace heading into, let's say, the Padres get in the playoffs, being the number one guy. You were counting on the fact that Cease and these guys would kind of get it together, but like, are you adding starting pitching to the list of problems for the Padres? Because that felt like the one spot, if King and Darvish just came back, that the Padres were kind of safe in, needing more bats, needing some bullpen help. You felt like the starting pitching staff was good, and Cease kind of reopened that can of worms last night.
I think the biggest problem facing the Padres right now is the fact that you could even include the Nationals and the Pirates. Really, the only team in the National League who's completely out of it is the Colorado Rockies. I mean, the Padres are at 49 wins, Cardinals at 49, Reds 47, Diamondbacks 46, Marlins 42, Braves 40. So all those teams are still within a shot of a playoff hunt at the very least.
Well, and that's what's
that's everyone under the Padres, by the way. There's 6 teams ahead of the Padres.
The Diamondbacks were a team that a lot of people were looking at before the trade deadline, going, they're going to sell off, and they had a lot of pieces. They actually have a really good starting pitching staff. Even with Burns hurt, you kind of thought Fott could be on the move, maybe Rodriguez be on the move. But the fact that, of course, the Padres are letting them back into this thing by letting them win games. Now all of a sudden the Diamondbacks might not be looking as sellers; they might be looking as buyers, and that doesn't extremely bode well for the Padres.
All right, texts are already coming in about non-main character sitcom or comedy show characters that you love the most. Barney Stinson's another good one from How I Met Your Mother. Yep. So keep those flowing in all show long. We'll get to our top 5 list at the end of the show. 70470. Start your message with team. Coming up next, Sammy Long, it's time. We are 55 days away. We are going to dive deep on some NFL divisional previews. Today, we start with the NFC East. After our chat with Mac Engel yesterday, we're going to talk some Cowboys, some Giants, some Philadelphia Eagles, and some Washington Commanders. Let's get into it. Coming up next, it's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Payday. Padres Diamondbacks final game of the 4-game set tonight. Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be going for Arizona, and Randy Vasquez will be going for the Padres. The run line is set at 8.5. The Diamondbacks are currently favored by -125. In NBA Summer League, Bronny James, the Lakers are playing Cooper Flagg, the 1 overall pick in the Dallas Mavericks. It is the highest priced Summer League game of all time to get into it in Vegas. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you. So grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it.
San Diego Sports 760. If you're joining us for the first time, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long, with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. We like to have some fun. We like to talk a lot of sports. We love the NFL, which gets started in 55 days. And we're going to talk some NFL right now, but the text line first. If you ever want to text the show, 70470. Start your message with team from the 619. And the question of the day is, Sammy?
Your top 5 characters in a sitcom or comedy TV show that is not the main character.
619, Putty from Seinfeld. High five.
Fantastic. SoCal Jayhawk. Love that. Text.
He would later go on to be Joe in Family Guy. He was the inventor of raw dogging flights, Putty from Seinfeld, the character, because he would just sit on the plane and stare straight forward and not be on any magazine or any.
Remember that when he's a New Jersey Devils fan?
Yes.
And Elaine breaks up with him because he's wearing the Devil jersey.
That's right. 858-949 is a Love Island watcher confirmed. That's a fact, dude. We got all of you are. I know that. 619, friends, George, Three's Company, Mr. Furley, Andy Griffith Show, Barney 5, Leave It to Beaver, Eddie Haskell, Everybody Loves Raymond, Robert, In Living Color, Jim Carrey, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Carlton.
Yes.
That is a strong list, 619.
That is, first off, that's fan. I didn't even think about In Living Color because it's a sketch show, but
who was George and Friends? Do they mean Seinfeld?
George and Friends.
I don't remember there being a George and Friends.
Yeah, what are we missing something in Friends? Is that
it might be Seinfeld George?
Yeah,
because George Costanza,
of course,
should probably be number one.
Costanza is fantastic. I love Carlton on there. This is a great list. Jim Carrey's phenomenal in Living Color.
484 on The Wire, Omar and Bodie. I never watched The Wire. Sorry,
I've heard The Wire's fan. I've watched a couple episodes. It's fantastic,
but it's not comedy based. Dokes and Dexter, aka Heinz Ward Doppelganger. That's a strong pull. That is the surprise, mother effer. 619, Ernie Pantuso from Cheers. That is the coach. The show is not the same after his untimely passing, but the coach standing behind the bar, giving wise advice, cracking one-liners, kind of dumb and also ridiculously wise at the same time. Strong pull from the 619.
All these are really good. I
very,
like
very
these.
Good.
That's why we're including comedy shows as well, because if you're like Entourage, Curb Your Enthusiasm, if you're an HBO fan, technically they're not sitcom.
Who's even the main character of Entourage?
Well, that's what I was having a debate with someone is because they all revolve around Vince, right? But if you think about it, he's not really the main. Like
he's also the worst character in the whole show.
Like Ari or Drama would be, but are they stars?
Ari kind of becomes the main character as the show continues.
Yeah, because at first he's not as much.
Johnny Drama is the ultimate just side piece of that show.
Johnny Bananas.
484 says, Fletch, you have a homework assignment. I'm assuming that is The Wire. Everyone says I need to watch The Wire. I haven't done it yet, but I've heard it's great.
858, Jeremy Piven, Ari Gold from Montage Rise. We said it. Yeah, I think if Ari is a supporting character, he has to be in the top 5.
All right. Well, Sammy and I will give the official top 5 coming up at the end of the show today, 145, right after we chat with Coach Kentera. Billy Currington tickets coming up in 4 minutes. Right now, the NFC East. So we got into it a little bit yesterday with Mac Engel, who writes out in Dallas about the Dallas Cowboys, and he agrees with us, Sammy, and you and I have been saying this for months now. There's a real shot the Dallas Cowboys might finish 3rd or 4th in their division this year. And the reasoning behind that is because, well, the Eagles are the Eagles. We know what they did last year. I don't see them really slowing down that much heading into next year. I think Jalen Hurts has established himself as one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. The Washington Commanders might also have one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's going into year 2. I don't see a sophomore slump coming from Jaden Daniels. I don't know if you feel differently, but they've added to this team Deebo Samuel. While yes, all you hear about him is that he's gotten fat, is a great piece for a second-year quarterback to have because of his versatility. I don't see Jaden Daniels taking much of a step backwards. So I do think that's the 1 and 2 in this division. And then 3 and 4, it's going to be between the Giants and the Cowboys. And if the Cowboys done enough this offseason, and the answer is they've done nothing except hire a first-time head coach and bring in George Pickens to make you think that they're really going to be that much better for next year. I don't think they are. I think that the Giants have an excellent draft this year. If Jackson Dart is good, the Giants are going to be a pretty damn good team this year.
Yeah, this is a fascinating division because so I'm gonna read the betting odds right now. So if you're betting on to win the NFC East, Phillies -145 makes sense to win the Super Bowl. Washington kind of a smaller second than I thought. I thought that they would actually be a more of a dog. +225, Dallas is +600, and the Giants are +3,000. So not much faith in the Giants. The Giants are going to be, I think, a year away. A really fun young team that is going to surprise people. I believe in Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Tyron Tracy. The pass rush is for real. The pass rush is one of the best in the entire NFL. I don't know if they have enough pieces around them to like win a division like that, especially as a rookie quarterback. Dallas is the interesting one because I mean, Dak was hurt last year. Trayvon Diggs was hurt. So if we're being positive for Dallas, they did have some major injuries, but they're so imbalanced. It's all the passing game. It's all going to be about Pickens and CeeDee. They do not have a run game. They didn't have one last year. They got a late round running back that they're kind of high on, but you're hoping he pops. And they didn't do anything to address. They had the worst run defense, not only of the NFL last year, but one of the worst of all time. And listen, Micah Parsons can rush the passer, but he's not a great run defender. I don't see, especially in that division. You're playing Saquon Barkley. I mean, you're playing Washington with Jane Daniels who can move. Daniels, I'm with you, Fletch. I don't see a second year slump coming from him because what he had to go through last year, I think it's a little bit different than CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud was really fun his first year, but it was a lot based on talent. They went to the playoffs. They got waxed by Baltimore. Jaden Daniels getting beat up with not a lot of talent around him. You take Terry McLaurin out of that equation, there wasn't like a great roster of guys that he was there, unlike CJ Stroud had. You go into Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, a veteran quarterback, get a win. Then you go on the road. I know Detroit was missing their whole defense, but still one of the most raucous environments, that lethal offense. You go toe-to-toe with Goff and best him. That's a scary team this year.
Jaden Daniels showed everything he needed to show a year ago because it wasn't like other rookie situations where you see a rookie come onto a team that's already loaded and dominate. No, Jaden Daniels was the catalyst to make the Washington Commanders a better team. And how much he did with his legs in the postseason, especially kind of gutting out first downs, proved everybody wrong because everyone just said he was fragile coming into the NFL, and he was anything but fragile a year ago.
Hey, I got a question for you. Would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts as your quarterback?
For how long?
Just going forward.
I think Jaden Daniels is my answer.
Yeah, it seems crazy to say because Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl, and I'm actually high on Jalen Hurts.
That was just year one for Jaden Daniels. Who knows what he's going to become? But I think as of right now, I would probably take Jaden Daniels.
I think Jalen Hurts doesn't get enough respect in terms of like he is a key catalyst for that team. I know he doesn't get it because Saquon, they were a run first team. That team was absolutely stacked. But Jalen Hurts has improved his game. When he came out of Oklahoma, I mean, he was not a very accurate passer and has completely changed that. Jaden Daniels, though, I saw someone yesterday mention this. Someone actually kicked Joe Burrow out of their top 5 quarterbacks. I forgot what analyst this was and put Jaden Daniels there. I don't know that I'm kicking Joe Burrow out because he has gotten to a Super Bowl, but Jaden Daniels is on that level of a quarterback that we're talking about that could be up there with the. I'm taking Mahomes out of the equation because he won 3 Super Bowls, but the Allens, the Lamars, the guys like that.
We did do that with CJ Stroud too. You remember after CJ Stroud's rookie season, all of a sudden people were talking about him as if he was in that upper echelon, and he really struggled in year 2.
I guess people did it with Trevor Lawrence as well.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Jaden Daniels does in year 2. Now, one more note on the Cowboys, just something to remember from last season, and nobody talks more smack about the Cowboys than I do, but remember at the beginning of the year last year, Deron Bland, who was their second-year cornerback the year prior, who set the NFL record for pick sixes in a season. Deron Bland missed the first half of last season, and then as soon as he got back was when they kind of had all their other injuries happen. So it is a different-looking, healthier Dallas Cowboys season, hopefully for them, heading into this year. Rich McGuire on YouTube has a great little list going. He says Kramer from Seinfeld, George from Seinfeld, Uncle Leo from Seinfeld, and Soup Nazi from Seinfeld. And Sammy Long from the Fletch Zone.
Hey, shout out to Rich.
Solid list, my guy. Thank you for that. Rich, appreciate you every day.
Texts are rolling. 484, Tony Collette's multiple personalities in the United States of Terra, specifically Uncle Buck. 484, best comedy HBO. What did I say?
Lucky Louie.
Lucky Louie on FX. 619, George's dad on Seinfeld. That is a great pull. His dad is fantastic in that show. 858, Kevin from The Office. Yes. Coach Beer from Ted Lasso.
Solid.
Ron Swanson, Parks and Rec. Solid. Carlton, Fresh Prince, and Frank Reynolds from Always Sunny.
Danny DeVito's character. That is potentially my number 1. I don't know. We'll see. Full list from Sammy and I coming up at 1:45 today, right after Coach Kentera. All right, Billy Currents and tickets on the line right now. a pair of tickets to go see Billy Currington and Kip Moore at Gallagher Square, Petco Park, Saturday, July 19th. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Caller number what, Sammy? What do you want to give them today?
Let's do 6.
Caller number 6, you're going to the show. Vote free, 877-767-4760 for a shot to go see Billy Currington and Kip Moore at Gallagher Square at Petco Park. If you don't like them, I promise you your wife does. So get on the phone right now. Start dialing. Caller number 6, you're going to the show. Coming up next, rare that a long shots opportunity from yesterday is still alive. The next long shots will be given out in 5 minutes. Keep listening. San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances every single weekday for you to win $1,000 with the bonus bucks giveaway, including today. You got about 15 minutes before the next keyword happens. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com, and you got a shot at winning $1,000. Next one coming up right at 1 o'clock before we get hour 2 going. David won those Billy Currington tickets. Congratulations. He is one of my favorite country music guys that I've ever listened to. So have fun at that show, man. Saturday, July 19th. We'll have one more pair of tickets coming up tomorrow for you to win if you missed out today. Thank you, David, for listening. Hey, those devastating Texas floods, they've impacted countless residents, families who have lost their homes, communities, and lives have all been shattered. Children are still missing from those floods, so the need is urgent. Please join us today. Donate to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund at communityfoundation.org. Divisional.net. All donations are going to be going directly to trusted local organizations to provide food, shelter, healthcare, and hope. The news about that just keeps getting worse and worse. So if you got some time, if you got some extra dollars floating in your pocket, communityfoundation.net is where you need to go to help out with that devastating Texas flood that happened about a week ago. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Coming up in hour 2, Coach Kentera is going to jump on to talk about the Padres and this kind of confusing team that they've been so far this year, and the confusing nature of what Dylan Cease has been since he's been a San Diego Padre. We are talking about the guy who threw the second no-hitter in franchise history, Dylan Cease, who that happened a year ago, but this year he just hasn't quite been recognizable to what he's been his whole career. Is there a chance that Dylan Cease is moving on from the Padres within the next few weeks? And I think that really is a situation that AJ Preller is going to have to look at very seriously as this team heads into the post-All-Star break, post-trade deadline nature of what they're going to be the rest of the year. And as of right now, they're not a playoff team, but that can obviously change very, very quickly. It's going to hinge a lot on what happens at the trade deadline. Now, Sammy, yesterday you made a long shots lineup that, I'll be honest, I did not place with you because I was so distracted during the long shot segment.
That's a shame because I think we're feeling good about hitting. So
it's still alive?
It's still alive. So I made a mistake. I forgot that Alcaraz and Fritz are playing tomorrow morning. I thought they were playing today. I didn't look at the time. I forgot that once you get to the semifinals, they go every 2 days. So Dylan Cease, under on pitches, 96.5. He threw 95. We're getting very nervous there. Hit the under. Mike Schultz was listening to the show and said, you know what? I want the listeners to really profit here.
Or, he got his last strikeout in the 6th inning at the right amount of pitches.
Yeah, that could have been it. Or Mike Schultz was listening. I don't know who it's for. Mike
Maybe Dylan was listening.
Maybe Dylan.
You know what, Dylan? Sorry for everything we've talked about.
Yeah, Dylan, we love you, man. You're gonna get it together.
It's maybe a great mustache.
He was like, Coach, take me out of the game. I need to make sure we profit here. And then I gave you the upset of the tournament. I am 6 for 6.
So she was a 10 seed and beat the 1 seed today, right? The American who won early this morning?
Yes.
I believe she was the 10 seed in Wimbledon and she beat the 1 seed.
13, I believe. Sabalenka. So Sabalenka's the number 1 seed who lost. Amanda beat her. This is the American. She's fantastic. She's like, when she's on, she can beat anybody. And Sabalenka was the number 1 overall seed. Lost to Coco Gauff at Roland Garros a month and a half ago, and didn't recover in. Amanda's good on grass. I called it. If you called the money line, you profited. I mean, you're probably living in Beverly Hills right now.
So look, I understand that the text line, the YouTube chat, everybody who listens to the show likes to throw some jabs at long shots every once in a while. I don't think Sammy's missed a tennis pick yet.
No, we're 6 for 6.
Wimbledon has been your, what is this? This is your Rain Man situation we got going on. Like, Sammy is on fire when it comes to the world of tennis.
Listen. Everyone wants to crap on Wimbledon until it starts making you money. Amanda Anamasova.
It's crazy.
Amanda Anamasova took down the number 1 seed, Sabalenka, at -145. I told you it was going to happen. She's nice. She's really good at this. She may or may not be making an appearance in the next long shot.
Well, let's get to it. If you're ready for it, let's see what Sammy Long has cooked up today. It's time for long shots.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, he's all big time now, huh? It's time for Sammy's long shots. Hold on. Can't talk until I say the important stuff. Long shots is presented by Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Now, go.
Sammy, out of curiosity, do you want to tell everybody what Circa Million and Circa Survivor is?
Oh, you mean the best way to play in Vegas?
That's the one, yeah.
And Circa Million, Circa Survivor. So listen, if you got a Survivor pool with your friends, you know what it's like when you're getting for a fantasy football league and someone doesn't pay, and so you gotta go track them down. Your friend, they stiff you, and then it ruins the relationship. Guess what? At Circa Survivor, all you got to do. Get 10 of your friends, or you just do it yourself. It's $1,000 entry, and then you all go in. You pick one game each week in the NFL season. So you don't need to stress about a bunch of them. You just pick one. Maybe you're a little busy. You don't want to do it. If you're locked in, you're like, I want quantity. I don't want just quality. I want a quantity of picks. Circa Million, you pick 5 against the spread. So each week, 5 picks against the spread. You outlast. You're winning millions of dollars in prizes. Fletch and I are going to be out there. We're going to be playing both of these, Circa Million and Circa Survivor. So we're going to be rolling along with you.
I did lose the lottery today. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. But I did lose the lottery, which was really unfortunate. And so I'm really putting all my banking in on Circa Survivor.
It's because Circa's the lottery.
Yeah.
Circa's the only lottery you should be playing.
So if we get $15 million from this thing, do we have to have a serious conversation with everyone around here? Like,
yeah.
Is that enough? I think I could survive.
Oh, 15 for the rest of your life?
Well, it'd be 7.5, right?
Yeah, 7.5. It depends how you spend. See, if you go if you go buy that truck immediately, that would be a problem.
The truck I want's like $100,000. We'll be fine.
See, I'd be bad because I'd buy a Ferrari immediately.
Of course you would. All right, where are we going with long shots?
All right, long shots. Guess what? So this one, we got a special parlay today. And then we got you could be winning on all we need is Alcaraz under on sets tomorrow. That one you could double cash tomorrow. We could come in with 2 cashes. If that happens, I'm gonna fair warning. I'm gonna be a menace tomorrow on the radio. That's you might not want to tune in, but please do. All right. So Jannik Sinner, we're sticking with tennis. We've been 6 for 6 on tennis so far. Jannik Sinner playing Novak Djokovic. This is gonna be fun. Friday tomorrow morning at 7:30 in the morning. 2 of the best players in the game. Jannik Sinner, number 1 player in the world right now. Novak, age 39. You know what he's done. Won a countless career of Grand Slams, all this stuff. 39.5 total games. I do like Sinner in this. Novak can push him. Novak's a very good player. But on grass, Sinner's power, I think, is going to carry. And just like my rationale for betting Sinner the other day, 2 rounds ago when he was losing 2-0, it looked like he might have got bounced out of the tournament. His opponent had to retire mid-match. This allowed Sinner for a lot of rest. Novak's been going 4 and 5 sets in each of his rounds, so I think he could be a little bit tired. He's on the older side. Less than 39.5 total games. If Novak wins one, we're going to be fine. As long as Sinner wins it in 4, we're going to be good. Okay, Brian Wu, pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. 6 pitchers.
Only 1 tennis pick?
We have one. Well, I didn't want to double up on Alcaraz and Fritz because we have that going on the other one. I actually have a tennis pick on our girl Amanda, but she's going Saturday. So should we save it?
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
We're going to have more tennis picks tomorrow.
All right, Brian Wu,
pitcher for the Seattle Mariners, playing in New York tonight at Yankee Stadium. On the short porch, 6 pitcher strikeouts. He's hit the over in each of the last 3 games. The game before, he tied 6 strikeouts. I think they want us to go under because they want us to think Vegas. Playing the Yankees lineup, Jazz Chisholm's been raking the last couple weeks. He's been fantastic. He moved over to the third base. Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, you know all the bats with the Bronx Bombers, they call him. I'm still going more 6 pitcher strikeouts for Brian Wu. I like Brian Wu. He's a very underrated pitcher up there in Seattle. I think he's going to run through this Yankee lineup. And people, because there's a lot of Yankee fans, a lot of people use all the betting apps and want to bet the Yankees. It's a little bit juiced. The strikeouts sometimes I think is a little bit lower than it should be because they give them so much respect. But the Yankees have been flailing. The Yankees have not been a very good ball club the last couple of weeks, especially that Mets series last weekend. And then,
wait, can we pause on the Mariners real quick?
Yeah.
Because something historic is happening up in Seattle with their catcher.
Cal Raleigh?
The Big Dumper.
Yeah.
That's his nickname.
He's fantastic.
He's hitting like home runs at a rate no catcher has ever done in the history of Major League Baseball. You can actually put him in a conversation right now because of what he's done pre-All-Star break in the same words as Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire.
It's unbelievable.
He's on their pace for their 60 whatever home run seasons.
They came to town. I went to that game. Mariners swept the Padres. Mariners are a pretty good team over there in the AL.
Cal Raleigh's just hitting home runs with his ass every single day.
Yes, he is.
Dude's got the biggest butt I've ever seen.
Fletch, I'm going to give you a pick here. Okay, I have a Padre pick and I have a Braves pick, but I'm going to eliminate one of them. Do you want the Padre pick or do you want the Atlanta pick?
Give me the Padres.
Okay. Randy Vasquez,
be watching that.
Randy Vasquez, more than 3 pitcher strikeouts. This is way too low for me. Randy Vasquez, I feel like, has been disrespected. Maybe because he's not the biggest name in the Padres rotation. He's not the name of Dylan Cease, not the name of Nick Pivetta, Yu Darvish. Randy Vasquez has quietly put together a couple of really nice starts. He ate up the Dodgers. He was the one guy, actually, in the 2 Dodgers starts that was really fantastic and has performed well against big Lions. I think the Padres need this one tonight. This is a really important game. Heading in the All-Star break next week, playing Philadelphia over the weekend. You already know what happened against Philadelphia in Philly last week. This is a big game. I think Randy Vasquez is a big performance. 3 pitcher strikeouts, more than. This feels way too low for me.
It feels way too high for me. He's not he's not a strikeout pitcher. He's like a ground ball pitcher.
3 strikeouts.
3 feels like too much to me. I'll be honest.
Do you want to go less? Do you want to go less then?
I don't want to go less than. This is long shots, so I don't really have the authority to do this, but I feel better about the first inning runs allowed with Randy Vasquez and Eduardo Rodriguez going less than on that. Because this Padres offense
I will make a switch. You want to do that?
I would like to switch.
Okay. All right. So we're getting rid of Randy Vasquez. We're going less on first inning runs, Eduardo Rodriguez and Randy Vasquez tonight.
There we go.
So to recap, Eduardo Rodriguez, Randy Vasquez, less than 1 first inning run allowed. Brian Wu, more than 6 pitcher strikeouts pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. Yannick Sinner, less than 39.5 total games against Novak Djokovic, closes out in 4 sets. We're going to double cash. We're double cashing tomorrow.
Now Randy Vasquez is going to have like a career high 6 strikeouts or something tonight. I know it's coming, but he's not really a strikeout pitcher.
Well, he can get a bunch of strikeouts the first inning. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be great. Honestly, if both of them just get 3 strikeouts right off the bat, that'd be great.
And then the Padres rake in the second. Just wait to the second to get going.
Yeah, exactly. Wait till Xander Bogaerts pops up in the lineup and then start hitting, because that's worked so well all year. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next. Coach Kentera is going to be on the show. We got a ton of Padre questions for him, especially after last night being one of the more talked about Padres games of the season so far because of what Dylan Cease did. We're going to get to it all coming up in hour number 2. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
I was in Vegas a few weeks ago, sitting at the Circus Sportsbook and going over week 1 NFL betting lines. I already got my picks a month and a half out. That's why I can't wait to start playing Circa Million, where you pick 5 games against the spread each week. Fletch and I were just talking about the NFC East a little bit ago on opening night. Maybe you like Philadelphia to cover the spread against Dallas. Maybe you like the Giants pull the upset on the road in Washington plus 6.5. Maybe you think the Chiefs will continue their AFC West dominance over the Chargers, favored by 2.5 in Brazil. Or maybe you like Aaron Rodgers, favored with his new team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, on the road against the New York Jets by 3. Or maybe Justin Fields pulls off a stunner at home. All you got to do is pick 5 games each week against the spread. Instead of doing side bets with your boys where they may stiff you on payment, play Circa Million. We also understand if you're busy and don't have time to pick 5 games against the spread each week, this is where Circa Survivor comes into play. All you need to do is pick 1 game each week. Once you burn a team, you can't pick them again. It's a $1,000 buy-in. You can get 10 friends for $100 each, or you can just go all in yourself with the grand. The fun thing about doing with the friend group is that one person gets to make the pick at the end of the day. If they're wrong and they sell everyone, you get to make fun of them for the rest of the year. Take all the pressure off you and play Circa and win your money now. This report is sponsored by eBay. Padres Diamondbacks final game of the series is Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound for the Diamondbacks, while Randy Vasquez will be going for the Padres. Arizona is currently favored by -125. That game will get going at 6:40. And Jalen Williams and the Thunder agreed to a rookie max extension between Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Thunder have spent $750 million on the big three this year. Swapping out your tires, there's nothing like it. With eBay, you find the feel you're looking for. From smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain, get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
And it's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher and Sammy Long. We will be with you till 2 o'clock today. We're going to get back to the Padres in just a little bit here, but we're a little late getting into the hour. So we're just going to get right to the big 3 of hour number 2 here. If Sammy's ready. Are you ready for this, Sammy? All right, let's get right into it. Sammy Long, smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Coach Kentera coming up at 1:30. We're going to talk all things Padres and Dylan Cease with the coach. The question on the text line that Sammy and I are going to deliver a top 5 for you at the end of the show today at 1:45. Best non-main character of sitcoms, comedy shows, anything of the like. We've got a lot of Danny DeVito from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We've got a lot of Dwight Schrute, a lot of George Costanza. Really start to rack your brain a little bit and text us 70470. Start your message with
We love our listeners, man. We have so many good texts in here that we've been reading all throughout the show. Keep pouring them in, and we're going to compile a list at the end.
Also, if you are the listener from the 484, I love the text you sent so much that you said you cannot read this on air.
That was fantastic.
And it hurts me to my core that is not out there in the world.
484, if you want to call in and say it, it's your prerogative.
It is. If you want to send a slideshow, we would love that too.
Listen, we'll post it.
I don't know if we can.
Legality things, I guess.
But that's a really cool story, 484.
Yeah. Listen, always share private stuff with us.
Please.
We're trustworthy.
I'm not. I'll tell everybody. Sammy, where are we starting hour 2?
All right, Terry McLaurin, Washington Commanders head coach Dan Quinn, said sometimes football and business intersect, and this is one of those times. McLaurin has missed the mandatory 3-day minicamp from June 10th to June 12th, and they do not believe that he will be there for the start of camp because he wants a new deal. Would you pay Terry McLaurin as one of the top receivers in the NFL?
I think my answer is yes. And here's the deal. And I'll kind of work you through my rationale. I don't know if you're ready for this, Sammy. This is how the twisted brain of Ben Fletcher works sometimes. Remember all the nice things I was saying about Jaden Daniels in the previous hour? Yeah. How I don't think he's heading for a sophomore slump. How I think Jaden Daniels is the real deal. That all gets tested pretty hard if Terry McLaurin is not on the team or if Terry McLaurin is not happy as a wide receiver. We know how wide receivers are, man. They're tough. You talk to a guy like Rich Orenberger about the guys he played wide receiver with. They're tough. And so if Terry McLaurin, it's absolutely his prerogative to get paid like a top-end wide receiver. But you think about what the Commanders did in the offseason. They brought in another highly paid wide receiver to this team. They absorbed that contract from the San Francisco 49ers when they brought Deebo Samuel over. This is a tricky situation for the Commanders. It's a tricky situation for Terry McLaurin. But I'll tell you who it's the most essential for is Jaden Daniels, who obviously already feels comfortable with Terry McLaurin. This is a tough one, man. I think you have to pay him.
Yeah, I think that there's something to be said for a guy who's kind of rode through the dark days of Washington. There's a lot of ownership things going on there. That was not a franchise that you looked at and was the epitome of success. He was a mid-round pick out of Ohio State, completely changed his career. An undersized guy, he wouldn't be what you prototypically make of a wide receiver, but I mean, he won. Him and Jay Daniels won that Detroit playoff game. He went off. They could not guard him. He was everywhere. And it feels like why when you have all this forward momentum. I understand the model that the Chiefs have done, the Bills have done, where you don't pay the receiver. The Chiefs were kind of the first to do it. You trade Tyreek Hill, they win 2 Super Bowls. The Bills get Stephon Diggs out of there. The Ravens have kind of done an aggregate at receiver. But in terms of, all 3 of those quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson are all extremely established, have won MVPs. You know that they're going to bring it. Jane Daniels, I know, is going to bring it, but why make things harder on him? You're creating a kind of culture there. Terry McLaurin seems like a good culture guy, and I would pay him. Even if you think it's a little bit of an overpay, Deebo Samuel is the number 1 receiver. Fletch can tell you, he didn't help out Brock Purdy last year.
Because he got fat. and he's slow now.
You've seen those images?
I know, it's kind of scary, actually. I'm not trying to body shame anybody. I'm in no position to do so if you've seen my belly lately, but Deebo Samuel gets paid a lot more than I do.
You're also not getting paid $20 million to catch football.
To your point, in the postseason, against the Tampa Bay Bucks this year in the divisional playoffs, he had 7 catches for 89 yards, a touchdown. Against Detroit, he had 6 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. Against Philly in the NFC Championship, 3 catches and a touchdown, 51 yards, but nobody was playing all that good against the Eagles. But he had a touchdown in every single postseason game. That is a target your young quarterback feels very comfortable throwing the ball to. Commanders should probably just bite the bullet and pay him.
Has Dylan Cease been the most disappointing Padre player on the team?
Yes, and I don't hesitate, even with Xander Bogaerts on this team, even with the year that Fernando Tatis Jr. has had after the first 3 weeks, Dylan Cease it's a tough pill to swallow, man. And it's because of the conversations we had about him going into the season, thinking that it was potential that this was Dylan Cease's year to have a career year because he's going into a contract this offseason. He was being relied upon to be the ace of this staff in the offseason. I know we talk about Michael King, we talk about you, Darvish, we talk about all that, but the outside hope was that Dylan Cease was going to come out and have the best season of his career. Well, the best season of Dylan Cease's career so far damn well might get you a Cy Young, and he has been anything but that so far.
Yeah, he certainly is up there because of what you just talked about, the opportunity he had.
And they could have traded him.
But in Michael King and Darvish going down, no one knew. I mean, kudos to AJ Preller for knowing that Nick Pivetta was going to be this good, because I don't think anyone in their wildest dreams when they signed him, I remember you and I were on air when they did, thought, wow, Nick Pivetta is going to be this good. And he's been a fantastic signing for the Padres. And thank God they had him, because if they didn't have Nick Pivetta, I don't know where this pitching staff would be right now. But Cease, definitely, you felt like this was his time to shine. Contract year, going to get paid, and really has not stepped up to it. Xander Bogaerts is obviously the certified patient. But
he already was a disappointment heading into this year.
I'll give you one. And again, this is may seem out of pocket. This may seem, because I'm not going to go with Jackson Merrill, because Jackson Merrill, I expected some second-year regression. And the fact that he didn't have second-year regression the first month of the season actually surprised me. So,
yeah, I have a feeling he's still a little hurt.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem right.
I'll give you one that I think a lot of people have made something about is Fernando, in the sense that he is the best player on this team, but how hot he was, how NL MVP conversation 2 months ago, we're sitting here, Fernando Tatis, I mean, he's up there as one of the best players in baseball, and he still is. So I'm not dogging Fernando. I'm a massive Fernando fan, but it has been a little bit disappointing. I feel like some of the vibe of this team goes the way he goes, and during his slump, it really kind of fell off a cliff. It's nice to see him getting it back a little bit. The Sunday game against the Rangers hit that nice liner down the side, but I feel like the stars haven't always stepped up when this team has really needed them to, and kind of righted the ship when the vibes haven't always been there.
It's okay to ask more of Fernando, and he hasn't given you more so far this year. If you had the player who he was the first month and a half of the season, this whole time, the Padres would be, I bet you, 4 or 5 games better right now. Mm-hmm. But it's the swing and miss rate that he's going at right now, and he's starting to hit the ball better, which is good. He's starting to barrel up a lot more. Even last night, he had a line drive that just went straight at the center fielder, but he hit the crap out of the ball. So Fernando Tatis Jr., the bat appears to be coming. The defense has been fantastic all year, but it's the swing and miss rate, and it's the pitches that he's swinging at that you could tell he's just not seeing things correctly right now, and hopefully that gets better. You got one more?
Yes, I got a fun one for you, Fletch, so we can always roll into the next one. So ESPN just did an article. We're close to college football. We're a month away. Top 25 teams have their arch rivals. This is off the cuff, so you need me to go first. It's fine. What is your top 3 rivalries? Take San Diego State out of this, that you look forward to see in college football every year, that even if you're not a fan of the team, you circle, you sit down on Saturday and you watch the game?
Ohio State, Michigan's easily there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say growing up, Notre Dame, USC was always a game I really looked forward to. And what, is that going away? Is that official?
Yeah, Lincoln. It's funny. Notre Dame wants to keep it because they need they're not in a conference, so they need to book the games that they can get in the college football playoff. And SC doesn't seem too keen to be traveling back to the Midwest. Apparently Lincoln Riley wants the game in early in the year. So if they're playing in South Bend, they want it to be where it's not freezing cold in November. Say what you will about that. Our friend Petrus Papadakis was not too thrilled with Lincoln Riley saying that, but it's a great rivalry. It needs to stay.
And then I do love Florida, Georgia. It hasn't been as good over the last decade, I would say. But back when both teams were 2 of the top teams in the country, that was so much fun every single year. And the hate that they had for each other was great. And when games were at the Swamp, the chants going throughout the place. Like, there are certain college football rivalries that just really get you going. Are any of yours different?
No, you kind of took. Michigan, Ohio State has to be there. I'll tell you if.
Which I'm also sick of Michigan, Ohio State, but for some reason it's still up there.
The reason I think it's still sellable, even though I don't, I'm not a fan of either team. I don't. Like
I actually kind of hate both teams.
I hate both teams. But the fun thing is that you tell how much they hate each other, and it's fun when you watch them play. You really do throw the records out. Michigan has had the worst team multiple years now. Ohio State won the title last year, and they beat them with a team that was pretty pathetic for Michigan. But when it beat them, as someone who's always grown up watching USC football, USC Notre Dame has always been a fun rivalry. That's really can't miss. Not to include SC again, SC Texas with a lot of teams. Texas Oklahoma is always a pretty fun rivalry. The Red River rivalry. What you got one over there?
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't say it right off the jump. And it has nothing to do with the football that actually gets played on the field. But Virginia Tech, Virginia West, when those two teams play against each other at Virginia Tech with the Inner Sandman going, is the coolest thing in sport, period. Not even just college football.
That's fantastic. Give us your thoughts, 70470. Start messing with team, what your favorite college football rivalry is. I mean, Washington, Oregon's a pretty fun vibe.
That's great.
As someone who lived up there, I'm not a Washington fan at all, but that's a pretty fun one. The Penn State, the whiteout, the whole that's a fun environment. Those Ohio State, Penn State games are always kind of must watch.
Month and 23 days, Sammy.
We're so close.
Less than that, month and 13 days. Excuse me. Woo! August 23rd, college football gets going. That's week 0, which I think week 0 is dumb, but week 0 is coming up. And then San Diego State plays on August 28th is their first game. Oh, man, I'm pumped for it. Yeah, battle for the old oil can's a good one, too. San Diego State, Fresno State. All right, take a quick break. Coming up on the other side, we'll get back to some of your texts, 70470. Start your message with team. We got some more thoughts on the NFL as well, which is 55 days away. And then Coach Kentera is coming up at 1:30. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego FC back on the pitch on Saturday night. They got Chicago Fire FC. You can hear the match live Saturday night beginning at 5 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home for SDFC. See how many more goals Milan Ilovsky can put in the net. I love it when our guy Adrian Garcia Marquez, maybe we could get him on today or tomorrow, Sammy. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I'll text him.
Get a little AGM on. But when he calls out the goals for Milan Ilovsky, I feel like he nails it. The Encinitas hero. He's good stuff, man. All right. Before we get any further along in the show today, Sammy, that was fun talking about the biggest rivalries in college football. And texter from the 619 texts in that says best rivalry ever in college is Army Navy.
That's fair. We should have.
And we definitely should have. And it's a huge event every time. Obviously the flyovers are unreal. The Army Navy game is a very, very, very solid pick. 619 also saying, as an Eagles fan, I encourage the continued minimalization of Jalen Hurts' overall talents as a quarterback based on your rankings. His motivation and drive over the past years as a quarterback has been built on the benching at Alabama, second-round draft, and continued disrespect, which maintains the chip on his shoulder. Thanks. Please keep it up, and I will thank you next year in February. Go Birds. Love the show. From Brian.
Brian, we love you too, man. Listen, I was not trying to be disrespectful to Jalen Hurts because
I think we were both actually pretty nice to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is.
That was the nicest I've ever been to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, you're talking to a Niner fan over there.
I hate the Eagles. They're the worst. Purposefully injuring Brock Purdy in an NFC Championship game.
Ooh, allegations. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. Listen, Jalen Hurts.
What was that dude's name? Hassan Reddick. Just coming off the side and unblocked.
That was such a disappointment because
that was a Kyle Shanahan biggest mistake as a 49ers head coach.
That would have been a fun game. That was like a literal pick 'em and then was a blowout. But at least you watched it.
Kind of like the Super Bowl last year.
Why are you talking? First off, do I need to bring up McCole Hardman highlights?
No.
Walk-offs?
No, it's okay.
We don't need to get distracted.
Jalen Hurts is great.
Jalen Hurts is fantastic. And I agree, Brian, I totally agree with you in this sense. Jalen Hurts does not get the respect that he deserves because of the talent around his team. Jalen Hurts is extremely efficient at running that offense. I know firsthand the Super Bowl, he lit up the Chiefs secondary and had some deep bombs down the middle. So it was not, even though, Saquon Barkley really didn't destroy the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was really Jalen Hurts who absolutely destroyed him. So I guess if you want to going forward, I understand giving Jalen Hurts the nod over Jaden Daniels right now. If you were saying drafting a team, if I'm being honest, I would take Jaden Daniels because I think the upside of what he had to deal with in Washington and the fact that he had no help with him, Jalen Hurts is on a stacked team. But Jalen Hurts, to be fair, should probably be discussed more in the top quarterback conversation because you always hear this. You always hear, obviously, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Jaden Daniels entering that conversation. I do understand Eagles fans' frustration with the fact that Hurts has won a Super Bowl. He's done more than Josh Allen. He's done more than Lamar. He's done more than Burrow, and he's always left out of that. So I understand the frustration there.
The dude's allergic to fourth downs. Fourth down means nothing to him if it's a 4th and 2 or shorter.
That's to that point.
The tush push hurts his legacy. It really does.
100%.
And that's not his fault. In fact, that's to his credit. He can do something that no other quarterback has seemed to figure out. Then their offensive line can do something that no other quarterback can figure out. But that is something, just like Brock Purdy being the last overall pick, that's going to be held against him. And that's unfortunate. But Jalen Hurts, I will say, and my buddy Eitan Shander, who covers the Eagles out in Philadelphia, this is what he always says. There's no quarterback in the NFL that has a better presence in the locker room than Jalen Hurts does. And I think that's true, man. You look at the way that team respects him. You hear from guys like Jason Kelsey after the fact, and it's just different. Like what quarterback could come in after Carson Wentz has a damn near MVP season and then deals with the ACL, and then a couple years later, Jalen Hurts is the guy. So you go from complete dysfunction where Nick Foles takes over a starting job, and then Nick Foles tries to stick around for another year, isn't very good. Carson Wentz gets shipped out of town. And then this guy, Jalen Hurts, comes in, who got benched at Alabama, just like you said, Brian, and then becomes the starting quarterback. And the way he's transitioned that team from chaos to nothing, all the meanwhile dealing with a head coach in Nick Sirianni that half the public thinks is incompetent, that half of the Eagles fans think should be fired. Jalen Hurts deserves a lot more credit.
It also is interesting, like at what point in that conversation, like Jalen Hurts doesn't get the respect, but he has a Super Bowl. He has 2 Super Bowl appearances, and in the Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs, he played well in that game. That was not the loss was not on him; it was on the defense. At what point are we going to start holding Josh Allen?
It always comes back to Josh Allen.
I'm just saying.
And Lamar Jackson.
And Joe Burrow actually give it a little bit of a pass to, because Joe Burrow actually beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead and went to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to give Joe Burrow a little bit of a pass on this. We always hold Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson at number 2 and 3 in the quarterback rankings. And to be fair, they look like it on the field. They're extremely scary to play with. But how many times can you lose to the Chiefs when the Chiefs' downfall is imminent, according to every NFL analyst that we hear? And how many times can you keep losing to them? And it's still, I mean, Josh Allen's talents through the roof. Because to Brian's point, Jalen Hurts has done more than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have.
You can tell that there's absolutely no bias coming out of Sammy's voice. 484 says Jalen Hurts is a gadget QB in the eyes of all, too stupid to see the beauty in his skill set. He is salt and pepper and pushes it real good. Solid text. 484.
I like that.
Jalen Hurts is great, man. I went through my Eagles hating phase a couple years ago where I said they were the most overrated team in football, and guess they ended up losing in the postseason. So I wasn't totally wrong on that.
I got a question for you. NFC, if we're just stick with the NFC, take the AFC out of it. NFC, if we're ranking quarterbacks, if we're going to give Jalen Hurts 1, that's fair. He's won a Super Bowl. Is Jay Daniels 2? Who's 3? Because there's not. Is it Stafford?
No, Goff is up there.
You would put Stafford over. You would put Goff over Stafford.
I would put Goff barely over Stafford. Are we talking about heading into this season?
Yeah.
Goff is barely over Stafford. Stafford is barely over. God, I see what you just did. You made me put Brock Purdy at like 5th. All right, here we go. Coach Kentera is coming up next, and I mean that one. I hate you, Sammy. San Diego Sports 760. Should Dylan Cease be a Padre by the time the month is over? That's the first question for Coach Kentera, and it's next live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Gary Cooper over at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Gary Cooper is Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Give him a call today, 858-376-1299, or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. Gary, some interesting things happening in the San Diego Union Tribune this morning.
Fresh out of the paper on Sunday, July 6th, it says average rate for 30-year fixed mortgages falls to 6.67%. So the long-term rate fell to 6.67% from 6.77 the previous week. And a year ago, the average rate was about 6.95. So we are seeing some improvement. But don't go thinking we're going to get into the ones and twos. Even if the government says they want them in the ones and twos. Truthfully, Powell's doing his job. They're independent, and he's just kind of watching how all these tariffs are manipulating the economy, and he's not going to make a move until he's certain about lowering the rates, and it's going to be to our advantage. So, hey, we're at 6.67 as of today. So if you hear rates below that, then you know you're going to be paying points to buy down to get that advertised or that gimmick rate. So consumer beware.
Gary's been eliminating the smoke and the mirrors and the shell games when it comes to mortgages for decades now. Call him today, 858-376-1299, or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com.
This sport is sponsored by Lowe's. Padres, after dropping Game 3 of the Diamondbacks last night, play their final game of the series. Diamondbacks, Padres, 6:40 tonight. Arizona is actually currently favored by -125 on the money line. Eduardo Rodriguez will be going for AZ, while Randy Vasquez will be going for the Padres. The run total is set at 8.5. Then out of the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder have spent $750 million on SGA, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams after Jalen Williams signed his 5-year, $287 million rookie max extension. Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you want the lowest price with their lowest price guarantee. If you find a qualifying lower price on the same item, they'll match it. Price match applies to the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how they'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances per weekday for you to win $1,000. So keep on listening. Your next opportunity is coming up at 2:00. Just listen for the keyword. Enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win comes right before John and Jim get on the air. Just take it to sportssd.com. Win $1,000. It's pretty easy. Right now we have the easiest interview we ever do. Coach Kentera jumping on the show. You can find him on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk. Coach, how are you doing today?
Well, Fletch, I'm doing great. Great to have you back. Thanks for allowing me to come in and hang out with Sammy for a couple of hours, a couple of days last week. And I thought, I know last time we talked, you were going to Switchfoot on that Saturday up there at Moonlight Beach, and I heard everything went well. And I didn't know you had that little R&R had to get out of the stage just to get rested up from that event.
Yeah, it was a big one, Coach. I can't believe you're thanking me. Thank you for jumping in and making this show classy for a couple days. We really do appreciate it. Coach, last night for the Padres was a tricky one because I think it opens up a big Pandora's box full of questions today. Before we get to the future of Dylan Cease and what may happen over the next, 3 weeks, Can we talk about what you've seen from Dylan Cease's mechanics, and if you think he's lost something over the last year that's led to a higher home run rate this year, even though some of the numbers for Cease are good? Obviously, the win total has not been. What are you seeing from Dylan Cease mechanically that's led to kind of the down year for him?
Well, what I'm seeing is a guy that goes out there and actually, he pitches pretty well. He has that one bad inning. It's kind of like a ball club sometimes that loses games late, and they start kind of getting in their head going, well, the 7th and 8th inning coming around, this is where we screwed it up the last 2 nights, and you go out there with a negative feeling. But what I'm seeing a guy that's got incredible stuff. I mean, and I know Michael King's been very good, but just pure stuff. Dylan Cease is by far and away the leader in the clubhouse with stuff. Now, with that being said, I think because this ball club has really struggled scoring runs, I think he's been guilty of going out there and trying to do too much. It's kind of like the great high school pitcher, and he's afraid to let the ball be hit to a shortstop or third base because they're going to kick it around, and he's out there trying to strike everybody out rather than, just pitch. And I think when he gets into critical situations more than anything, last night it was obviously the 4th inning, but the 4th and 5th inning have been real bugaboos, I think, for him this year. I just see a guy that loses his command, tries to throw too hard, doesn't finish his pitches, doesn't get over that front leg. He's releasing and kind of standing up, and that ball rides high and away to right-hand hitters. I think he's got incredible stuff. I think he's pitched a lot of good ball games this year where he hasn't gotten a result. He's pitched games where he's gotten a result, pitched well, and not got the win. There's a lot more in there for me. I think a lot of him as a pitcher. I just think mentally at times he kind of loses his focus and gets a little frustrated out on the mound.
Coach, some people today have been frustrated thinking that they want Dylan Cease gone. Is there anything, if you could improve the bats, would you trade him, or would you keep him and try to kind of squeeze the last bit out of him?
Well, Sammy, here's the deal with the Padres right now. And I'm not a guy that wants to wave the white flag, but I'm getting a lot, and I know fans don't want to hear this, and I don't want to say this, but, from a baseball standpoint, I'm looking at the Padres right now, and I think we got to be really honest where this ball club is at and what ball clubs are out there. We're not the same team this year that we were a year ago. You had Jerks and Profar. Last year had a career year, and maybe there was a reason he had the career year. I saw he's back with Atlanta now. You just had a deeper ball club last year, and you had a really good, solid bench. I was looking at the bench, and I don't want to bore the fans with this, but this bench is deplorable. I mean, really. I mean, Bryce Johnson hitting 278. He's a AAA player for me. Trenton Brooks hitting 156, 5 for 32. Tyler Wade last year, I think, was utilized very, very well. This year, I don't know when he's going to play. I know he hasn't had an at-bat since the end of June. He hasn't had a bat in the month of July. He's hitting 212. He's 22 for 104. Jose Iglesias, who had a big year with the Mets last year, hit 337. He's hitting 222 here. And then you think about the guys they brought up. I mean, Luis Camposano, 0 for 18. Connor Joe, 0 for 9 before being traded to Cincinnati. Terso Ornelas, his first trip to the big leagues, 1 for 14. And let's not forget Yuli Gurriel before he got DFA'd, 4 for 36, a 111 average. Jason Hayward, 176. Oscar Gonzalez, 220, was getting sent down. He asked for his release, signed a deal in Japan. Brandon Lockridge is down in AAA right now. He was hitting 216. And Mason McCoy, who played in 4 games, was 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. So you're getting absolutely nothing from your minor leagues right now. And I don't know, everybody's saying, well, you got to make trades. Yeah, well, you'd love to make trades, but who are you trading? Who do you have that somebody else wants besides DeVries and Salas?
It's a great question, and maybe it gets answered in the next few days, few weeks, and maybe not. Coach Kentera joining us today. Find him on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk. So, Coach, trying to read between the lines of what you just said, are you saying the Padres should be sellers?
Right now, there's no doubt, Fletch, in my heart, that this team can find a way to be a wild card team. But do we just want to qualify for the wild card, buy our wild card a T-shirt and run around town with it and get, wiped out early in the playoffs? This team right now, to me, could be a wild card team. They're not a World Series team for me. I mean, do you think this team could go to the World Series with what we're seeing right now? I don't. And I think the thing you have to gauge here, and there are a lot of variables here. Number one, they're not playing well. Number two, they've got a lot of impending free agents. And number three, and maybe the most important of all of this, we have no prospects at the upper levels. All of our best prospects are down in high A ball. We got Ethan Salas. I don't know when he's coming back. He's playing double A, hitting 188 and hadn't played in 2 months.
Coach, so if they're going to be sellers, do you think that they could open this thing up to a possible big fish that gets traded to try to recoup some of these prospects?
Well, I think Cease would obviously be the first guy to go because you're going to get a considerable amount for him. And who you trade him to, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't care if they trade him to the Giants or the Dodgers or anybody in our division. I really don't care as long as we're getting something in return. We've got to replenish our farm system. We've got to kind of, maybe take a step or two back to regroup to where we can be really, really competitive next year in 2026. And again, you're hoping that Darvish comes back because you got him under contract until 2028. Joe Musgrove should be back next year. Obviously, he'll probably be on an innings restriction. But, what are you going to do with Suarez? What are you going to do with the Rise? What are you going to do with Michael King? If you know you can't sign these guys, trade them, get what you can, and let's rebuild that farm system to where we can regroup here and make another run at it.
So, Coach, if we can follow this logically and say the Padres do sell in a hypothetical world here, the Padres end up selling at this trade deadline, and maybe this year kind of ends with a fizzle and not a bang, like we've been grown accustomed to over the last few years in San Diego. What does that mean for AJ Preller? Because I think he's second or third in the league right now in terms of length of contract as a general manager, or length of stay, tenure. What does that mean for AJ Preller if he's restarting this thing again? Is Padres ownership going to be comfortable sticking with him through it?
Well, let me ask you this question. My big question right now is I would tend to be a seller because I don't like the way this team's playing. You got a lot of guys that are not playing well. Fernando's not playing well. He's become a very average major league player, quite frankly. Jackson Merrill's in a funk. Manny's, been fine, but he's, kind of going through it a little bit right now. I just don't like the trend of this ball club right now. And the thing that I don't know, and this is going to be very interesting, is AJ allowed to do anything? I mean, he really wasn't very active during free agency. They walked into Gavin Sheets on a minor league contract. They luckily were able, because they really desperately needed a pitcher, got Nick Pivetta to come in, and he's been a real blessing. They signed Kyle Hart from the KBO at a bargain basement price. He wasn't given a lot this offseason. So where is this ownership? Because we haven't heard anything from the ownership about whether or not there's going to be money to, go out there and spend. If we don't have the prospects, and I'm not giving up DeVries, I'm not giving up Salas, I'm not giving up probably Cash Mayfield, a young guy they drafted a year ago. If you don't have something the other teams want, you may take expiring contracts, because I think the Padres want to stay away from the threshold tax. That's definitely one of it. And the way you do that is by peddling the veterans are making big money. So there's a lot of moving parts right now with this organization. I don't see where they can really go out and get difference makers to come in here and all of a sudden we're, banging our chest going, oh man, we're going to make a great run for it. I don't see the talent on this team this year, nor the fire that I saw a year ago. I don't know how you feel. I don't know how the fans feel, but I'm seeing some signs right now. This team is tired. They don't have the backups, and I think guys are getting wore down, and I think that's one of the reasons why their bats have really slowed down. I mean, Manny obviously posts every day. He wants to play. Xander's played a ton. Cronenworth's playing a ton. Arise is playing a ton. Fernando, thank goodness he stayed healthy. But they're having to play a lot, and they're not getting a whole lot from the guys that are on the bench. They're not productive.
But does AJ Preller get another shot at rebuilding this? I don't think too many general managers would get, what would this be, his third shot to completely
Well, yeah,
rebuild?
but again, there's been some things, I think, Fletch, behind the scenes that we're not privy to. That first go round when they brought in Matt Kemp and they traded, man, I hated to trade Max Free because I knew he was going to be good. I saw him before the Padres ever even drafted him, and they got Justin Upton and they got James Shields. I think that was more of ownership trying to get this Padre franchise to become relevant again, because they really lost a lot of relevancy, after, Boach left, John Morris, and then Jeff Morad came in. And then when Ron Fowler and Peter Seidler came in, they knew things were tough and they wanted to make a splash. And the best way to make a splash is go out and bring in guys that had name recognition. Obviously, that didn't last very long. They were 32 and 33 when they blew out Buddy Black in 2015, and it spiraled downhill. You could go to the history of the Padres. They had some really, really bad years early on, but they stuck with AJ. AJ's done a lot of good things. There's obviously, like any general manager, there's been a lot of swings and misses. I believe his contract, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have it in front of me, I believe it runs out at the end of 2026. So, if that's the case, they're going to have to make a decision here pretty quickly whether or not they want to extend him or not. And with this ownership, I have no idea what their plans are. I knew what Peter Seidler's were because we used to talk quite a bit or exchange texts quite a bit. But right now, I have no idea what they're looking to do, buy, sell, or stand pat. The worst thing they can do is stand pat. Either go for it or let's, go a couple step backwards, try to get as many good young talented prospects in via trade of these veteran free agent guys that they're not going to re-sign, and let's make a run for it in 2026. But the worst thing they can do is just stand pat and think that they can get in with the current roster they have.
You were correct. AJ Preller is signed through the 2026 season, so we'll see what happens after that. Coach, always appreciate your time. Thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Thank you for jumping in last week while I was up in Tahoe, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Well, hey, Fletch, the last thing I got to tell, I'm fired up, man.
I can tell. I love it.
I want to see this ball club. I've been working all day. I'm working on the draft. The draft's on Sunday. Padres draft number 25. I'm all fired up. I want to see these guys win a ball game tonight and get ready for Bryce Harper and the Phillies tomorrow night. Let's go.
Love to see it. Find him online on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk. The coach is hot. We'll see you next week, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
You as well. It's San Diego Sports 760. Take our final break. When we come back, the conclusion of what the text line's been doing all day long, plus some reaction from Coach. He was fantastic today. Absolutely on fire. That's next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, we got a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it, so we're going to get right to it here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for our final time today. Jim Russell, Brent Sperry, and maybe even a little John Schaefer coming up in just a few minutes. But Sammy, we got to get our top fives. Coach was fantastic. If you missed it, we're going to post that interview separately up on social media. Coach was on fire today, man. He was a top 5 character in a sitcom.
Yes, Coach. You know what I love about Coach? Coach just brings it. He doesn't tell you what you want to hear. He tells you what you need to hear.
All right, my top 5 list. Or Sammy, you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay, my top 5 list is done. It's finalized. This is non-main characters in sitcoms or TV. This was very hard for me to do. What I did was I took out all emotional attachments and I went by laugh per word. And I think that these 5 characters all made me laugh the hardest every time they were on the TV screen. Number 5 is Norm from Cheers, the GOAT, R.I.P. He just passed away actually a few weeks ago. But Norm from Cheers, every single time he opens his mouth, I laughed. Andy from Parks and Rec. It was a tie for number 4 between Andy and Ron Swanson. I was going back and forth. Andy makes me laugh harder, more consistently. Number 3 easily could have been my number 1. Costanza from Seinfeld. I think George Costanza is the perfect sidekick, best friend of any TV show. He did it the best. Number 2 might be controversial. Kevin from The Office.
Oh,
The Office is my favorite TV show of all time, and it's not even close. I had to have The Office on this list, and when I think about who makes me laugh the hardest in The Office, not named Michael Scott, it is Kevin Malone.
Kevin's fantastic.
Number 1, with a bullet, Frank from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, I like that list.
Dude, Sunny, it was nothing because Sunny had a season without Frank. It's nothing without him. And then as soon as he jumps in, it becomes one of my favorite TV shows. The hardest I laugh during a show is Sunny. So Frank gets number 1. Sammy?
This is perfect. We have so many great texts rolling in about this. Okay, number 5 for me. Leon from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
JB Smoove.
JB Smoove. That Leon, every time he's not on as much as he should be when he was, but it was every time.
You got about 30 seconds.
Leon, okay, in no particular order. Carlton from Fresh Prince needs to be on there.
No particular order.
No, Carlton's 4. George Costanza is 3. Seinfeld. Number 2, Dwight Schrute from The Office. And number 1, I'm going Ari Gold from Entourage. And my honorable mention is in Martin Brahman, who comes in, lives on the 4th floor. He's not on enough to call him a cohort of a thing, but a fantastic character.
My honorable mention is Barney Stinson. I can't believe I didn't find room for him in the top 5, but Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother is one of the greatest side characters of all time. All right, that's it for us today. Keep an eye at Fletch and Sammy on X. We're going to post that full coach interview separately on X today. If you missed it, it was fantastic. Coach went a little bit scorched earth on the Padres, so we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. Jim Russell's got full 4 hours for you coming up next. You're not going to want to miss a minute of that. Sammy, nice work. Good having you back in studio.
It's great being back, brother.
I don't like it when you're just a little box on the computer. I need you right here where you are.
Need to see your face, buddy.
San Diego Sports 760. We out. We'll see you tomorrow. You've been listening live on the iHeartRadio app.